Hold on. Hold on. Up. Good morning. So I've gone through most of the exercises with Charlotte today, and this is her up, 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 ooh, ooh, back, 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 back. Turns out a little bit, but anyhow, I've gone through the exercises with today. Today's session 5, and today what I want to do with her is basically introduce her to 2 exercises: lateral flexion and hind quarter control. The last thing we did the other day was vertical flexion as an introduction, and I'll show you that real quick. And she's gotten better. And so vertical flexion, as we described in session 4, brings down the head, endorphins, good for bridling. So about 15 degrees in, you can see I'm just barely touching her head right now. Just barely. And she's bringing it down. I'll get it to the point where she'll put it down and leave it down. So we're working on that. We worked on the other ones. I just showed you a little bit of, proper leading. She's doing good. Lifting her feet. I got her to the point where she's doing pretty good on that. Let me move her this way a little bit so I can show you. There you go. Whoop. And then I come down here and I ask for that foot. Up, 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 up. And she gives it to me. Up, up. There you go. One more time. Up. That's a good. Up. And I'm starting to hold it and hold it longer and pat it. Hold it longer. Move it. Give it back to her. I'm not trying to hold it for a minute. I'm holding it for seconds. And we're doing a little bit at a time to the point where she gets real good at it. Okay. So I'm going to move on to first vertical flexion. Now, vertical flexion is moving the head's horse left and right. Why is it important? Now we're starting to get into, remember, groundwork that applies to the saddle when we get into the saddle. Lateral flexion, one of the most important ones, and the next one I'll be showing you is hind quarter control. Both of those are important. Lateral flexion makes the horse nice and soft. Where the head goes, the body goes. Makes them nice and soft. And you want to get it to the point where they're really soft, but not moving. So the 2 things here, horse has to stand still, horse has to give me its neck with the lightest pressure. Remember, we're using phases. We want it to be her idea. So what does it do? Makes the horse soft and supple. It also is the beginning of the emergency 1-rein stop. Emergency 1-rein stop is taught on the ground and then under saddle at the walk, trot, and canter eventually. But you want them to get good at the walk before you go to the trot, before you go to the canter. The canter, when you do a 1-rein stop, you're doing it easy because at that speed you don't want them flipping over. But it prevents you from getting bucked, bolted, or rearing. And the hind quarter is the same thing. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm going to get into the lateral flexion. She's never done lateral flexion with me. So what I want to do is show you how to do it. I'm going to move her just a little bit this way. There you go. There you go. To the side so you can see what I'm trying to do. Okay? And lateral flexion, again, is softness side to side. Not only do you get it on the ground, but you also are going to get it in the saddle. Nice and soft. And then when you bring that around, you expect them to stop and keep their head in. When they're bent like that, you can take circles all day, but they can't bolt, buck, or rear. The second part of that will be the hindquarters. So I'm going to start off. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get the shorter lead line, and I'll get a little bit of a shorter lead line this time. So, as we were talking about lateral flexion, I'm going to stand next to her withers, like this, and I'm going to ask her to give me her head without movement. She's probably going to move. She's never done this. If she moves, I go with her until she gives me a little bit of head and no movement. So I'm going to ask by putting a little bit of pressure. Remember the phases, light pressure, just looking for a little pressure. She gave me the head. I released it and loved on her. She's already got her head cocked towards me a little bit, which I think is great. And I've never done this, so this is the first time. Okay, so we'll do it again. Stand by her withers, loose line, pick it up, nice and phase one, nice and she gives me that head a little bit. I'm gonna love on her. Now she may be doing it intentionally or just she's looking that way. I don't know, but she's moving, but I don't want her moving. If she moves, I'm gonna go with her. So right here, I'm gonna ask for that head again, ask for a little bit more. She gave it to me. I'm gonna release it. Remember at the beginning, you reward the try. And I'm going wide now. And later on, when she gives me the head a lot, I'm going to go from wide towards the withers. And why am I going to do that? Because I want her to give me that head when I'm on her. When I'm on her, I'm probably not going to do this as much. I want to do it right here in the 6-inch circle. Again, I'm going to ask for a little bit more. Holding it. She gives it to me. Love on her. And you're not going to complete it all, which is going to get real soft in one exercise. You know, it might take several. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Because remember, we want to teach them properly. So again, I'm going to stand by the withers, go wide, ask for that head, light pressure, light pressure. She's moving. So if she's moving, I'm going to keep the light pressure, and I won't release it until she stops. So if she moves, you're going with her. And hopefully she'll move a little bit because then you can see what we're doing there. So standing by her side, I'm going to ask for the head to come in. I'll ask a little bit more. Lighter. She gave me that head. I dropped it. She's a quick learner. Up. Car just came by, so I'm going to say, give me the head. See if I can get a little bit more without the movement. That was very good. So she's doing real well, to tell you the truth. Most horses move around the first time you do this, and then you got to move with them and not release it. So you're just going to keep moving with them, and you stay in this relative position. A little bit more. Good girl. That was very good. Ask for it again. Good girl. She moved that time, but she gave me her head first without movement, so I'll try it again. If she moves, I want to emphasize to her there's no movement required. Don't want any movement. Give me the head a little bit more. If she's okay, she's moving, that's good. I'm going to stay with her. I'm going to stay with her because I don't want the movement. So I'm bending her head a little bit until she stops on her own. Once she stops, then we're going to go ahead and release it. But I'm not going to release it until she stops. So she learns that I want the head, but the head's got to come with no movement. When she stops, we will do it. She stopped. That's for the head. She's still moving. This is where you really want to teach her. Head comes in. Boom. Release. Okay, that was a good teacher for her there because she learned a little bit that I just want her head. I don't want her to stop. I don't want her to move. So I'm going to do it again. A little bit. A little more. I know we always talk about phases. You're probably tired of me saying phases, but it's the lightest pressure to whatever pressure is required. So if she doesn't move her head at all, I'm going to increase it a little bit. But if she brings it, I want it to be her idea. So when I say, give me a head, a little bit more pressure, a little bit more, release it. Remember the pressure? I'm going to say it again. Pressure is the motivator. The release of pressure is the teacher. Bring on pressure slow. Release it quickly. Bring it on slow. Release it quickly. Good girl. Okay. Going to go to the other side, see if it's better or worse. Good girl. So I'm going to rub on her and love on her. Then I'm going to ask for that head. If she moves, We're moving with her. So I'm going to go wide a little bit, let it go. She's licking her lips, which is a great sign. That means she's taking in the information. She's absorbing it. A little pressure. She released it. I released it. Good girl. Again, just want the head. If she's moving, I'm moving with her. Okay, I got a little bit of bend. She stopped and gave it to me. Very good. I'll bend her again so you can see it. And then we're going to ask for more and more and more. Okay? So I'll ask a little bit more. You probably won't give it to me. Might be a little bit too early to do this, but it'll give you an idea. So I just want the head. No movement. No movement. If she moves, we go with her. Boom. All right. She stopped and gave me her head. Again, ask for that head. If she moves, we're going with her. Going with her. Going with her. The pressure does not come off. Does not come off until she stops. She stops, gives me her head a little bit. Boom. Release. I'll do it on the other side. She's a little better on this side. We'll do it again. Okay, I'll go wide. Ask for that head. Ask for a little bit more. A little more. Hold it. Hold it. Bring it in. A little bit more. Good girl. Okay, I thought that was really good for the first session. And we'll ask for more and more and more. And I'll give you an update. I'll try not to repeat stuff we've already done. But that's a good technique. And don't ask for too much the first few times. Okay, hindquarter control. Hindquarter control. Let's talk a little bit about hindquarters. Hindquarters is the engine of a horse. That's where all their power comes from. The hindquarters. Right here. So, what we're going to do is we want to get hindquarter control, or have them give to the hindquarters. So, the reason we want them to give to the hindquarters is the same thing. If they get out of control for some whatever reason, and you take their hindquarters away, they can't bolt, buck, or rear. So you want to have good control of the hindquarters under saddle. And so what we do is we teach them to give those hindquarters on the ground so that it's not foreign to them when we get on the saddle. They have an idea of what to do. And that's what ground training is all about. It gives them an idea of what to do on the saddle. It's a little bit different on the saddle, obviously, but it makes it so much easier on a horse. That's not the first time you're trying to get them to do it where they've never heard of it before. So I'm going to use a stick and string, and I'm going to use indirect pressure. Indirect pressure means I'm not going to be touching them, and then I'll go to direct pressure. And again, this is the first time she's done it, so it's not that big a deal. But when we're looking for disengagement of those hindquarters, we're looking for this leg to go in front of and on the other side of the inside leg, or the outside leg. You want the inside leg going in front of the outside leg. So you want it crossing over like this. If they're doing this, you keep doing it until you get that one step crossing over, and then release it. Otherwise, I'm not going to release it. But initially, I want her to move off my stick. And of course, you rub them all and say, this is an extension of my arm. Oh, it's not a bad thing. So what I'm going to do basically is bend a little bit towards her and her hindquarter, put my focus on her hindquarter, and then tapping the ear indirectly, and then swinging it a little bit harder. And then if she doesn't move, tap her. And I want her to move off. And initially, I just want her to move off. Then I want her to make sure that inside leg goes in front of the outside leg. And then you do it more and more and more. And the reason I'm bending like this is twofold. I'm putting pressure on her by bending and focusing on that hindquarter. Eventually, I want her, anytime I go up to her and bend towards her hindquarter, I want her to face me. I'll move that hindquarter away. It's really helpful in the field when you're trying to catch a horse. A little bit different technique, but but it's still good. You have the horse, anytime you come up and bend towards their hindquarter, they face you. Okay, so we'll start it off. We've never done this, so I'm going to go a little bit of pressure, more pressure. She takes a step. I release the pressure. Okay, I'll try it again. Bend, pressure light, pressure heavier with the stick. She took a step. Okay, good girl. Try it again. Bend, light pressure, more pressure. Okay, she went. Good. Now what I want her to do is cross. I'm going to put that pressure on her and tap her until, and let her, and make her move until that inside leg goes in front of that outside leg. And you can watch that if you want. So I'm going to go tap, pressure, indirect. Now I want that leg. Okay, I'm stopping and I'm loving her. Why? That inside leg crossed in front of the outside leg. Try it again. Inside leg, inside leg. Good girl. Looking for 1 or 2 steps right now. That's disengagement of the hindquarters. Like I said, it's between lateral flexion and hindquarter control. When you're in the saddle, it'll save your butt from getting bolted or reared or bucked. Again, so I'm going to ask for 3 or 4 steps. Good girl. And the intent here is eventually she just keeps going as I exert that pressure. And we're looking for her to basically drill a hole with this inside leg, meaning I don't want her moving forward or back. I want her just pivoting on the hindquarter control. Because when we're also going to use this not only to take her hindquarters away if she starts to get excited or acts up, but you'll also be using it as hindquarter control when you're riding. You know, you got position 2 where your leg falls. You got position 1 in front of that. And you got position 3 behind, maybe where that back cinch is if you're using a back cinch. So it's position 1, 2, and 3. And we'll get into detail on that later on. But 1 controls the shoulders. 2 is side pass. If the left side is open, if it's not open, then it's impulsion to move the horse forward. And then back here is number 3 is how you move that hindquarter over. So we're going to go from indirect to direct. So that when I put pressure on number 3, I want that hindquarter moving over to the point where she gets real good. So when you're in saddle and you want that hindquarter to move and you're sitting in that saddle, you're going to move this foot back and that'll push that hindquarter away. And she'll rotate on it. She'll rotate on her forequarters, which means the forequarter stays still, the hindquarter moves around. Okay, I'll do one more. What you do to the left, you do to the right. We'll do it again. Now I'll show you direct as well, because I'll work on direct a little bit. So this is indirect. Looking at her, putting pressure, inside leg is going around. Want that, keep going. Good girl. Good girl. Now for direct pressure is when we're putting our leg on her. So at indirect pressure, I should be able to go like this with her and get some movement. Direct pressure means I'm going to be touching her, like, you know, when you get your foot on her. So I usually take my stick and turn it around a little bit, and it frequently takes a lot of pressure, so I wrap it around like this. Again, I want it to be her idea. We're doing phases. Apply this to what's required to get that one little step. You can bend the head in if you want. Frequently, when you're teaching them, it's a little easier for them when they're bent in that direction. You use a stick so you don't get kicked out. Eventually, you can just move your finger towards them. So this is a little more pressure. I'm going to go right here in the hindquarter area where about your foot will go. Okay? Some people start it here, and that's fine. I like to start it where my foot's going to go, which makes it a little bit more difficult. But if you can see, what I'm going to do is go Here's skin, muscle, bone, just like we did in vertical pressure, vertical flexion. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go light here, skin, muscle, bone. She takes a step away. I don't care about the feet now crossing at this point in time. I'll get that when she moves off my stick. Again, so rubber before, let her know it's a tool, you know, and rubber before and rubber after. So I don't know if you can see it, but let me move her this way a little bit. Oh, good girl. So you're going to see number 3. I got a loose line, relatively speaking. So it's going to be right here where your foot would go. So it's going to be, and by the way, when a horse gets better and better, you know, when you teach him, it's going to be position 1, position 2, position 3. When a horse gets really good, those positions get closer and closer and more finessed. And if you see people who dressage and stuff, you don't even know their legs moving, and they're making the horse do all kinds of weird things. Fine tune. That takes years. Okay, so here we go. Starting off here, skin, muscle, bone, bone. Hold that bone. Hold that bone. Hold that bone. There you go. Good girl. Rub her out. Rub her out. We'll do it again. Whoop. Yep. Let's see. You can see. Okay, so right here, I'm going to go, whoops. I'm going to go here, skin, muscle, bone. Bone, I hold, hold, hold. I hold, 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 hold. Increase it and hold it. Hold it, hold it. Takes a step, move it away. Not looking for that cross yet. Eventually, I want that cross. Okay, oops. I should use my other stick without the screen. Okay, here we go. Again, bend her head a little bit. Here, skin, muscle. Very good. Muscle. She's going off on muscle that time. Here, skin, muscle, muscle, muscle. Good girl. Anyway, you get the idea. You do it. She'll move off her leg lighter and lighter, and she'll get better and better. So this time I'm going to ask, and I'm going to hold that pressure until she crosses those legs. It's a little hard sometimes to keep that pressure going. Okay, so let me move her here so you can see. And then what we're going to try to do is get that inside leg to cross over. Oh, she's doing it without the pressure. Okay, pressure, pressure. Here, skin, muscle, bone. Here we go. There we go. Take the pressure off and rubber. Okay, that's do the left, do the right. And I think that'll be it for today. Let's see how her lateral flexion is doing again. So take that lateral flexion, see how she does. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, a little shorter today, so hope that helped. So today we did, just showed you a little bit of the vertical. We started the lateral pressure and hindquarter control.